Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about reliability. Measure what it is supposed to matter of degree specific to a particular purpose. Must be infinite from evidence. Cannot be directly measured. Learning outcomes. Content average. So validity and reliability. Think in terms of purpose of test and the consistency with this purpose fulfillment. Validity and reliability, neither valid nor reliable, reliable but not valid, fairly valid but not very reliable, valid, reliable, validate depends on the purpose. Example, a ruler may be a valid measuring devices for length but is not very valid for measure volume. Reliability, consistency in the type of result a test yields, time and space, participant, not perfect similar result but very close to be being similar. When someone say you are reliable person, what do you really mean? Are you reliable person? What do you think? Fourth choice assessment from are high is reliability but weak is invalidity. Performance-based assessment from are high in both validity and reliability. A test item is said to be unreliable when most students answer the item only. When a test contain items that do not represent the content convert during instructions, it is known as an unreliable test. Test items that do not successfully measure the intent learning outcome are invalid item. Assessment that does not represent student learning well enough are definitely invalid and unreliable. A valid test can sometimes be reliable. If if a test is valid, it is reliable. Indicators of the quality, validity, reliable, and utility fairness. Question: how are they all intern related? Two methods of estimating reliability: test or retest. Retest is the more conservation method to estimate reliability. Simply put, the idea behind test or retest is that you should get the same score on the test one as you do not test two. The three main components or to the methods are as follows. Number one, implement your measurement instrument as two separate times for each subject. Number two, compute the correlations between two separate measurement and assessment that is no change in the underlying conditions between test 1 and test 2. Two methods of estimating reliability. Internal consistency estimate reliability by grouping question in a questionnaire that measure the same concept. For example, you could write two set of three questions that measure the same concept and after collect the response, run a correlations between those two group of three questions to determine if your instrument is reliably measured the concept. The primary difference between test or retest and internal consistency estimates to reliability is that test or reset involve two administrators of the measurement instrument, whether the internal consistency methods involve only one administrator of the instrument. Validity: two can comparables defend as it is the best available approximations to the truth or falsity of a given influence, propositions, or conclusion. In short, what we write. Let's look at the simple example. Say we are studying the effect of strict attendance policies on class participation. We see the class participation did increase after the policy was established. Each type of validity would highlight the different aspects of the relationship between our treatments and our observed outcome. Type of validity: conclusions validity, internal validity, constructive validity, and external validity. Conclusions validity: ask is there is a relationship between the program and the observed outcome, or in our example, is there a connections between the attendance policy or the increased participation which we saw. Internal validity: ask if there is a relationship between the program and the outcome we saw. Is it a cause relationship? For example, did the attendance policy cause class participation to increase? Threat to of internal validity: there are three main types of threat and internal validity: single group, multiple group, social interest threat. Single group threats apply when you are studying a single group receive a program or threat. Thus all of these threat can be greatly reduced by adding a control group that is comparable to your program group to your study. Threat to internal validity: single group. History threat occurs when an historical event affects your program group such that it causes the outcome you observe. In our earlier example, this would mean that the strict attendance policy did not cause an increase in class participation, but rather the explosions of the several students due to low participation from school impact your program group, such they increase their participation as a result. Threat to internal validity single group mutations threat to internal validity occur when a stand event over the course of time cause you outcome. For example, if by chance the student who participate in your study on class participations all grew up naturally and realize that class participation increased their learns, they could be the cause of your increased participation, not the strict attendance policy. Threat to internal validity, single group. A testing threat to internal validity is simply when the act of taking a pretest affect how the group does on the post-test. For example, if in your study on the class participation, you measure class participation prior to the implementing your new attendance policy and student become fair warned that there were about to be an emphasis on participations. The main increase is it simply as a result of involvement in the present measure, and thus your outcome could be a result of a testing threat, not your threat. Test to internal validity, single groups, and instrument threat to internal validity could occur if the effect of increased participation could be due to the way in which that patent was implemented. Threat to internal validity, single group. A mortality threat is internal validity occurs when subject drop out of your study, and this threat to an effect measure of your effort. For example, if as a result of a strict attendance policy, most students drop out of a class, leaving only those more serious students in the class, this could mean you affect in overestimate and suffering from a morality threat. Multiple group theory involve the comparability of the two groups in your study, whether or not any other factor other than your treatment caused the outcome. They also mirror the single group threat in to internal validity. A select history threat occur when an event occur between the pre and post test affect the two groups directly. The select marathon threat occurs when there are different rate of growth between the two group between the pre and the post test. Select the testing threat is the rest of the different effort from taking test between the two group. A selection instrument threat occurs when the test implements affect the group differently between the pre and the post test. A selection mortality threat occurs when there are different rate of dropout between the group, which leads to your detecting an effect that may not actually occur. Finally, a selection regression threat occur when two groups regress toward the means at different rate. Construct validity. Ask if there is a relationship between how I operationalize my concept in the study to the actual cause relationship I'm trying to study. In our example, did our treatment reflect the constructions of attendance, and did our measure outcome increase class participation reflect our constructions of participation. External validity reflect to our ability to generalize the result of our study to other setting. In our example, could we generalize our result to other classroom, other schools? Type of validity: face validity, constructive validity, content validity, criteria validity, productive, concurrent. Face validity: does it appears to measure what is supposed to measure? Example, let's say you are interested in measuring prosperity toward violation and aggressions. By simply looking at the following item, state which ones qualify to measure the validity of the internet. Have you been arrested? Have you been involved in physical fighting? Do you get any angry easily? Do you sleep with your shock ons? Is it hard to control your anger? Did you enjoy playing sport? Constructive validity. Does the test measure the human characteristics it is supposed to? Example of constructions of the human characteristic: mathematical reason, verbal reason, musical ability, spiritual ability, mathematical aptitudes, motivation. Content validity. Does the DV measures the empirical or operationalize, validate the being schedule? Does the example cover adequacy, cover the range of march? Criteria validity, the degree of which content on a test. If they do correctly highly, it means that the test is a valid one. If you taught skill relating to the public speaking and had a student to do to test on it, the test can be validated by looking at how it really relates to actual performance. Two type of criterion validity: curriculum criteria validity, how well performance on a test, estimate current performance on some valued measure. Predict criteria validity, how well performance on a test, predict from futures on some valid measure. Reliability, measuring of the consistency of the test result from one administration of the test. Generalized consistency, if a test item is reliable, it can be correlations with other item to collective measure constructions or content measures. Measuring reliability, test result, give the same test twice to the same group with any time interval between test. Equivalent form, split half, test has two equivalent halves in terms consistency and internal rate consistency. These are the different kind of issues that we can focus on validity, and we can make a reasonable point of views in a professional way. If you have any question regarding this point, you can communicate with me. Thank you, bye bye, and take care.